We have an
All right, there you go. The show now belongs to the man, the myth, the legend that is the great Simply Stu. Stu Johannes over there on the stage is going to be conducting our pro panel. I see Cam coming. It looks like I see Eric over there on the stage. It looks like we've got several of our pros. Had a great show.
Rachel's here.
His lovely wife yesterday.
Yep.
And Eric today on the elevator. So we're going to have some fun. Here you go, Stu. It's all you, brother.
Thank you, sir. So I do see Cam. Cam, come on up here. We've got Eric. Eric is here.
Rachel, come on.
Beck. I haven't seen Beck, but Rachel is here. So we'll wait a few minutes. We're about 4 minutes or so from the start. There comes Laurel. It's sweet, huh? Those chairs are really awesome. I'm going to take one of the chairs away. Take this one. Look at that, I got a bottle holder for you. It's pretty sweet. We're going to wait a few minutes. We got Beck is coming with us. It is comfy. Those chairs, oh yeah. And the shag carpet. I even groomed it before I... Yeah, you take them off. It's clean. You know, I was looking for a doll. I was going to have a diaper changing contest between... He's not done with it. What do we got? We got...
He was funny last night. He's like, if I really liked it, I think there's a joke in here.
Or else what? You're done. 1.5, you're done. Right.
I don't know, Stu, looking pretty comfortable. Looks like you're ready.
Almost. We're waiting on one more.
Are we going to embarrass somebody's bathroom again?
Ready?
Oh, hey, Stu, now's a really good time to talk about tomorrow night's happy hour.
Talk about it, Sean.
Which is actually brought to us by one of our pros. So one of our pros, the delightful Carly Johan, she is set up tomorrow right off of the Market Square, a place called the Casual Pint. Official challenge Knoxville happy hour from 4 to 6. If you bring a finisher's medal, you get drink specials. So you're going to hear the metals clanking up against the glass, I guess, when they pick up their pint. But it's at 421 Union Street. It's called the Casual Pint. It's put together by pro athlete Carly Johan. And if you bring your finisher's medal from 4 to 6, you get a discount on drinks. So it's the official happy hour. Are you ready, sir? All these people, we know you've got choices. We're happy you accepted the challenge. We're happy you came down here to hang out. Oh, there's Big Sexy. Chris's crew is in the house. We got Big Sexy Racing with us. He broke his chain. He's all bummed out.
Test. Ooh, there we go.
How you doing, Stu?
We're getting close. We're still waiting on one more. Have no fear, though. We're missing Beck, but she's coming. Beck is coming.
Did they pull a Wasssner?
I hope so.
It looks like
Did you do a DNA check? They did admit to me that they swapped in school and took each other's exams.
We got you guys in the shade, though, so no worries about too much sun. Cam, you look like you were almost going to take a snooze there. You almost did. That's good. That's good.
It's nap time.
It is nap time.
Yeah.
You know, Sean, we have some wickedly fast, really young, I don't even want to say kids anymore. There's one gentleman I see right here. He kind of looked up.
Is that Mr. Hammond? Right
Yeah.
there? Young Master?
Yeah. Raise your hand right there.
There he is.
This guy is fast. And you look at
every
him.
year, he's running out of room on his kit. Every year he shows up with a couple new sponsors. He gets faster and rises that podium.
He's going to need to wear pants pretty soon to have more sponsors on his
Oh,
pants.
so he's going to look like the North Korean military?
Yeah.
He's going to have
You know what?
bells going all the way down one leg.
Yeah. But you know what? He's a good kid. That's a good thing. That's the future of our sport right
his
there.
father that drives him around, his real sponsor.
Yeah.
Dad.
Us dads don't get. Wait, you were the sponsor? Well, yeah, I sponsored you for 21 years in college and diapers. Yeah.
You're sponsoring him right through college.
I have a feeling though that he's not going to have to worry about college for him. Right?
Well,
You're going to go to college.
A couple of, thanks to Title IX, we've got a few girls programs that are offering by scholarships. But right now, the option for the triathlete male is track or swimming. Let's just get a little funky here.
We were almost
off to you this morning.
That was funny. You come walking in, I'm playing music.
I love it.
Rocking out.
It was a good time. Dude's got good music. Dude, good music down there at the start of the Globe Run last night.
Yeah, until I started everybody too early. It's still pretty funny. They're never going to let me let that one down.
No. We said, wait!
All right, Sean, we're ready to go.
All right, another Wednesday. Simply Stew with our pro panel, folks. Immediately followed by our athlete meeting at 1:30.
Test. All right, they're both ready to rock and roll. You know what was funny, Sean, is when I was talking to Rachel, I said, you know what's really funny about pro triathletes is you ask them where they live, and they can't answer the question. The only pro triathlete, I think maybe in the history of pro triathletes that can do that is Cam Dye, who we're going to meet in a second. But what I'm going to have them do, because it's often cool just to hear their voice, is we're going to have them introduce themselves, talk about where their hometown is. Do I need to turn it up, Sean? Sean's coming, okay? Their hometown, and I even put a card out there so they don't look at me and say, what was I supposed to do? Nationality. Here we go. So, Mr. Cam Dye, look at that. I even wrote it out for you. Mr. Cam Dye.
Hey everybody, my name's Cam Dye. My hometown is Boulder, Colorado. My training town is Boulder, Colorado.
Where is your born town?
My born town is Boulder, Colorado. I am American, and the key to my race on Sunday will be to American. Swim well, ride hard, and hold on.
Hey Cam, before you give up the mic, and I asked Rachel this, I haven't talked to Eric and I haven't talked to Laura about this. You said when you're doing shorter distance, you're going out at about a 10.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, for the half distance, what are you going out at?
Well, we'll say an 8, see how that goes.
Okay, 8, sounds good. All right, let's pass that mic down. Now, Sean and I always worry about Laurel and Rebekah because we panic because they look so alike and they act alike, but we want to really treat them as separate individuals. So here we go.
How do you know that I'm Laurel?
I know. See, that's Sean. She might have switched this.
I don't think that Beck wasn't a little bit miffed that she didn't ask to be on this.
Hey, where is she? Is Rebekah here? Where is she?
She is here.
Come on up here, Rebekah. Come on.
Where's Rebekah?
No, this is not Rebekah. This is Laurel. Rebekah is coming on up here. Come on up here. Seriously, yep. Yep, she's coming up here. This is awesome. Now I'm panicked. Okay, go ahead, Laurel.
So I'm Laurel Wasssner. I live in New York City. I train there as well, but I also train in Santa Monica, California. My sister and I are American, and the key to my race on Sunday will be not to get too hot and to have a fast run.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, we're going to pass it over.
Hi, I'm Rachel McBride. My hometown.
She still doesn't know. She's been thinking about this for 45 minutes.
It's true. It's a long story, but I'd say basically my hometown would have to be where I am now, which is Vancouver. Been there for 8 years. That's in BC, Canada, and that's where I train as well. My nationality, I am dual US Canadian, and the key to my race on Sunday is going to be to try and catch those speedy swimmers that are going to be out ahead of me, I know.
Like Jen Spieldenner, right?
Yeah.
Story. My nationality is American, and my key to race on Sunday isn't all that different from Cam. Swim hard, bike hard, and hope to have a big enough gap on the run to hold off some of the speedsters.
Okay, pass it over here. We'll go all the way back over. Oh no, is this
Thanks for having me.
lovely? Come on. We love you guys. We truly do. I panic. I worry. There's one thing I worry about all night long. Okay, what if they show up separately? Oh man, which one is it? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Rebekah Wasssner.
Okay.
Laurel and I grew up in Gaithersburg, Maryland, which is outside of DC, and we've lived in New York City for the last 15
We're in New
years.
York City. Like you say, New York City is like.
Tribeca, downtown.
Oh, Tribeca.
Right across from the World Trade Center site. And we're American. And the key to my race is just to get out there and go as hard as I can for as long as I can.
And beat your sister.
And stay with her then.
Okay.
See what happens at the end.
All right, sounds good. All right, so we've got two new dads, and I was going to have them do a diaper changing contest. We're going to go back over to Eric. We're going to talk a little bit about, and then we're going to go backwards. We'll go to Rachel, and then we'll go back. So you were a little bit worried when you were talking about. You said maybe we had a 51% chance, not 51. You were like 50-50 as far as should we have kids or not. They decided to do it. How's that gone? Well, I guess. Well, yeah. Okay. We won't go into the genetic. Rachel can talk all about that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, she's trained in all that kind of good stuff.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, recently, well, I guess not so recently anymore. A year ago, had a kid, a daughter named Sydney, and I was really concerned when we started.
Awesome name, by the way. Love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, good, great name. I approve. Not like you called me and said, "Hey, Stu, what should I name?"
But that means
Sydney?
a lot. It
Okay.
does mean a lot. So.
Okay.
We had Sydney about a year ago, and was really concerned that it would affect my racing and affect my ability to be a good father. And I was concerned that I would neglect my child for racing because it takes a lot of time and energy to race and train. But I found that it's really rewarding. It balances me out. And I was just talking with Cam a little bit ago, and it's rewarding in a lot of different ways. Racing is something that's very transient. You can only do it for so long at the highest level. But having a kid is a lot more impactful and longer lasting. So it's been a lot of fun, and I've learned how to change diapers really, really well.
Okay,
so
do you think you could beat Cam?
I think I could beat Cam. Yeah, I think I could take him.
What about Laurel? Rebekah?
I don't know. The ladies always have that genetic advantage. There's something about the mother gene or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
It's actually Rebekah, not Laurel.
Jeez. All right. Yeah. I guess that's true.
See?
Yeah.
See, we panic again.
We always screw it up. Yep.
All right, so we'll go over to Rachel. You know what's really, and I apologize, Sean and I, we talk about this all the time, about the really, and actually there's no, even on this panel here, there's so many wickedly smart triathletes. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just that type of personality. You do it all. A cellist, I joke. That was your original goal, right? You wanted to be a cellist.
Yeah, when I was in my early 20s, I was pretty hardcore into the music scene in Toronto, Ontario, and traveled the world playing cello, and thought that's what I wanted to do.
But then you got educated. Well, when did all this genetic stuff go on?
Well, I think I did my first master's.
I did my first master's. I got my first PhD, and then I got my second. Go ahead. Sorry.
Basically, my decision to do that master's was kind of like, okay, let's be a grown-up and not be a musician anymore, and try and, just that science was more serious, and I don't know.
But now it fits perfect. That wickedly smart lifestyle and then triathlon, it seems to work. You guys, it's kind of the same mindset, don't you think?
Oh, I think, yeah. I mean, it's amazing to look at all of the pro field and to see like what everybody has behind them, and how PhDs and medical doctors and engineers. It's just incredible. And I think, the personality really, like, you have to focus a lot and commit a lot to triathlon and training. And I think that we see that in other aspects of our lives as well.
All right, so after triathlon, Eric has already said that he wants to be a pool boy. I'm not sure that's what he actually wants to be, but we'll go with it. After triathlon life, what do you want to be?
Oh man, that's a good question.
Cellist or cellist?
It's cellist, by the way.
I know.
Well, I keep saying I have so many expensive pieces of paper that of my education, and I've done so many different things that I'll figure something out. There's something cool that I can do after this in some field. Wherever sort of I feel pulled, I think I'll move in that direction.
You know, out of all the pro panels I've ever done, and there's been ones where we've had like world champions, multiple world champions, this is like one of my favorite. I'm honestly saying that. And for lots of different reasons. All right, we're going to go over to Laurel here. Laurel and I have a connection, a very deep connection that she may not be aware of. Obviously, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, not necessarily that connection, but my daughter had leukemia when she was very young. She's been out for 20 years now, so that's good. So you're the youngest of the two, correct? And you also have that connection with my daughter, I should say.
Yes, I do know that, and I didn't forget. You were actually the first triathlon media person that recognized that, so I've always appreciated that.
Really? The first?
Yeah.
All right, see?
I kind of came into triathlon without really telling anyone my background, and that was sort of the first. That was at Rev 3 Quasi.
Yeah. Don't
quite a
you
few
want to
years
forget
ago.
about it every once in a while?
I tend to, it's been a while, so I forget about it, but then I always, anytime I do something like, I can't believe I've done it, and I think, wow, I've come so far. And I do think about that almost like every time I have a hard workout, or I do a race that I shock myself and, do well in when I think how could I possibly have done that? So I think about it.
Yeah, so 5 to 7 months, I think that's what we lived. That's about the standard, the protocol. So we lived in the hospital for 7 months. We never left, and that's about what yours was.
I didn't stay in the hospital for 7 months, fortunately, but I did have a course of treatment that lasted 7 months, and the effects of it lasted several years after that. But it's something that, fortunately for me, was just took a few years out of my life, and I was able to come back and become a triathlete and do amazing things that I never thought I could do. And I feel really fortunate because there are some other people that are going through the same thing right now that might not come out with the same outcome.
Yeah.
So I feel very lucky.
All right. So we've got, Rachel's not totally sure. We've got the pool boy, and what are you going to do?
After racing, I hope I can continue racing for a long time. I will probably go back into photography. I was a photographer and photo editor at several magazines before I started doing triathlon, so I always have that to go back to. The publishing field has changed a lot in the last few years, but I want to find something in photography. I still do it anyway. So.
All right. While I ask the last two pros questions, if you do have a question that you want to ask, you can come up here. If not, I'll keep asking, but otherwise come right up here and you can ask a question. All right, Cam, you are up. What do you think?
About what?
What are you going to do afterwards?
After I'm done racing?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of $1 million question. I was a finance major in college. I've always had an interest in that, so...
Where'd you go to college? Big Ten school?
Yes, sir. Big Ten, University of
Yes,
Iowa.
sir.
The Hawkeyes.
Yes, sir. All right, University of Iowa. Is that guy, are you from University of Iowa?
From Iowa.
Oh,
There
from
you go.
Iowa. Did you go to
Go
Iowa?
Hawks.
I did not go to Iowa.
But you
I'm a
support
big
him.
Hawks fan.
Okay, good.
I swam with Seth Tweedy.
Okay. All right. He was one of my roommates in college.
Really?
Yeah, really. Small world.
He coached our high school team. He spoke highly of it.
Right on.
It was funny, yesterday Cam was talking about some of the Olympians that he had swam with, and he said, these guys kicked my butt in just day-to-day training.
Yeah.
Who were those guys? What were some of the Olympian guys?
Not day-to-day training, but back when I was in school, Peter Vanderkay was setting the NCAA record in the 500 and 200, and Matt Grievers was swimming for Northwestern, so it was pretty much half the 2012 Olympic team was my age, which made for a very, very fast Big Ten conference meet. But yeah, no, it was very apparent that swimming was not my ultimate calling at that point.
So you're not a new dad, but you're a double dad.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
I've got a 3.5-year-old son and a 16-month-old daughter. So yeah, I've changed.
And we did agree that girls are far, far, far easier to raise than boys.
Oh, thus far it's been
Yes.
night and day. It's been a dream. I don't know. Once she turns 13, like we said, it's probably all over.
No, it's not. Kids are great all the way through. All right, so we're not quite sure, but you've got actually, everybody here is pretty young. So you guys all have long careers left. in the ever-changing triathlon market. All right, we're going to go over next here. So let's talk about what are you going to do after triathlon?
I guess I could be a full-time mom. I have a 2-year-old, but I'll probably go back and do...
2 already?
Yeah,
Wow.
he's 2, yeah. But I am a CPA also, so I did that before triathlon, and I kind of do that on the side a little bit, but I'll probably do more of it.
Yeah. So do you guys actually, when you say you're across from the World Trade Center, like, do you just start from your house and you're riding your bike? Where do you go? It's not like you can be out in the sticks in New York City.
Yeah, there are a couple options. We go up the West Side Highway to Central Park in the early mornings when there's not a lot of traffic, or we go over to Jersey, across the GW Bridge, and I also have a house upstate in New Paltz, so that's about a 90-minute drive, and we'll go up there sometimes just for day trips, but usually for longer training camps, so we can get out of the city pretty easily.
Can you get a full workout in Central Park?
Oh yeah, you can.
Running,
You can.
for sure, but
running,
biking?
there's always somebody to chase after and running. There's so, like...
Chase after?
There's always a
Okay,
fast runner.
I'm gonna get that guy, or I'm gonna get that girl.
There's always a fast runner out there.
All right, so what's the key for you, and then we're going to go back the other way. What's the key for you on Sunday, or tomorrow, really, to race well? What is it, that one thing that you need to do tomorrow?
I think for me the key will be just to manage the heat. It's pretty hot for me. I'm not, I don't prefer the heat, and also the air is really thick and full of pollen, so I'm going to have to manage that a little bit. I don't know how yet, but...
So the heat, you don't like the heat. You'd rather have the cold?
I'm more of a cold person. This race is usually cold. The last couple of years it's been cold in the mornings, and I think last year I put gloves on. So
Yeah, you're not going to leave.
enough.
I'll give you a tip.
It's
You don't
not
need
gonna be
gloves.
cold,
You don't need
yeah.
gloves. 2 years ago was the most epic race, obviously, that everybody's ever been in. I think we
Is
had.
that the rainy day?
I am afraid some of the shorter athletes would have actually maybe been covered. If you ever want to see some wicked video, and I talked to Cam about this yesterday, I think it might have been Lauren Goss, if I'm not mistaken. We have slow-mo video where the water was almost up to her knees, and I'm not exaggerating. It was great, but I think we have calm, and I think it's going to be good weather. I think it's going to be good weather tomorrow. So that's a key to you. You feel good, injury-free?
Yeah, I do. It's been a while coming back from having Amy, but I'm finally getting there.
All right, so if things go bad tomorrow, almost always in that longer race, it's going to get tough. I don't mean bad. What do you think about? Do you think about your kid? What do you think about?
Well, last year I did think about Amy the whole time because she was here, and it was the first race that she came to, I think, and I knew she was going to be at the finish line, so I kept saying to myself, she's there, she's there, she's there, and it got me to the end. So I'll probably think about something like that. I don't know what it is yet. Sometimes it just comes at the moment when you're feeling the worst, but it's usually something I repeat over and over.
All right, sounds good. All right, Cam, you're up. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Again, your key is just go hard and rock it out all day long.
Yeah, I mean, I think to make that plausible, though, it's going to come down to my nutrition plan, both executing it well and having set it up correctly going in. So, I mean, I think I've got a good plan. Kind of like Rebekah was saying, the heat and the humidity is certainly not something I'm accustomed to this time of year because Boulder's, we had snow last Saturday. But yeah, I think to execute my plan, it's going to come down to nutrition. If I can do that well and be smart about it, then it'll be a good day.
You caused a little bit of a flurry. Some of the athletes now are panicking. I don't have 2 sets of goggles. I only have a really dark pair. This Cam guy said I should really probably have a clear pair and a dark pair and make a game time decision. I heard these guys talking about that this afternoon. Do you guys all do that? A dark pair and a kind of a metallic pair and just make a game time decision? Because it really is important, right? Talk about that just a few seconds there.
I just always make it a habit of having a clear pair of goggles and a metallic pair of goggles in my bag in transition, and that way, you know, morning of, within 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the start, I can make a decision based on where the sun's at, what direction we're going to be swimming, and then whether the sun's out or not. And if the sun's out, I'll wear the metallic ones, and if it's not, we'll go clear. And I mean, things can change in those 30 minutes, but I always figure it's easier to make a decision the morning of within 30 minutes of the start than trying to predict the weather the night before. So I mean, it's an easy thing to do. Just have 2 pairs of goggles, and you have them both set up so they're sized for your head, and you're not taking the goggles out of a brand new case or anything. Be ready to use either pair, but it makes for an easy game time decision.
All right, Laura, you're up. So let me ask you this about training in New York again. It's always fascinating to me. It seems like when we're out in the country in Wisconsin or wherever, we could ride for miles and never see a car. Is it a lot more difficult for you to train where you live, or is it just you've lived there, that's part of your life?
I think it is where I choose to live and want to live because it is part of my life. But there are so many amazing athletes in New York City. There's top level runners, nationally ranked runners. There's amazing swimmers that swim.
So those are the ones Rebekah says she's following, right?
We have Olympians at every, ex-Olympians at every Masters team practice. Guys, girls, like all different countries. And the biking is a bit more challenging because Central Park is crowded and you have to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning. You have to leave your house in the 4s to get to Central Park if you want to have a decent bike ride. And then you can get in like 40 miles, but it's
40 miles?
Yeah.
Is it doing loops? It just doesn't doesn't comprehend.
It's about a 10K hilly loop. Takes about 15 to 16 minutes, and you just do that a bunch of times. So it's not, and there's so many people that it's fun. It's not it's not going to be your Ironman long ride, but if you want to do that, you just have to get out of the city.
Okay. What's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you in a race?
The funniest thing was in the Westchester Triathlon. It was a big race at the time, and it was pouring rain. My sister and I swam together. She got her wetsuit off faster than me, so she got to our bikes. She got to the bike before I did.
She took the wrong bike.
She took my bike, and I was screaming at her as I was taking my wetsuit off. "You're taking my bike! Stop!" And she was so focused that she rode about 20 miles before realizing that she had my bike. Meanwhile, I had her bike and I took a wrong turn because I was so flustered, and I ended up getting lost in the pouring rain.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm sorry, but I still think that's the funniest story.
And, my parents were calling, they were about to call the police because I was lost in the race.
I don't know if I should have asked her that question because she really was the thief, right?
So it was kind of, it wasn't funny until the end.
It's funny now.
Believe it. We do have the same bike. We had the same bike shoes at the time. We had different handlebars, so that was the only, she didn't notice that. So, yeah.
All right,
pretty fun.
Rachel, you're up. Funniest thing that's ever happened to you? You're so much more relaxed now. First time I talked to her, it was a couple years ago. She's just so timid, and she's just the most awesome person now. So I love it now. She's just more relaxed. Funniest thing that's ever happened to you on the race?
It's hard to top that story. That's pretty awesome.
It's not often that your sister steals your bike in a race.
Not at all.
What was that?
And then you don't realize it until 20 minutes into
Now, if Rachel gets on Eric's bike tomorrow, that's really a story.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought our bikes looked the same, Eric.
So yeah, my story's probably going to pale in comparison. I think the funniest thing that I've done, there's tons of transition stories I think are the funniest ones. My very first triathlon, I had a left and a right sock, with the L and the R on them, and I put them on the opposite feet and then thought, oh my goodness, they're on the wrong feet, so I had to take them off and put them on the right feet. But the first ever duathlon I did, I had never done a duathlon before, and it was the ITU World Championships over in France there a couple years ago, and when coming off of the first run, I picked up my bike and started running off with my bike, and I still had my run shoes on, and realized that, and so had to run all the way back and take the shoes off.
I gotta admit, Laura, the stealing of the bike is still going to be a good story.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Eric, what do you think? Can you top that story?
Probably not. Mine's actually a left and right story too. So, you usually have to rack your bike the day before, and I put my shoes clipped on the bike, but I didn't want to leave it in transition with the shoes clipped in.
Do not tell me you clipped them in the wrong.
Oh yeah. I didn't do it with my feet. I did it with my hands because I didn't want to unrack the bike. This is early on, and so I put the right shoe on the left shoe and the left shoe on the right shoe. And again, heat of the moment, you don't check it in the morning. Hopped on the bike and I was going for it, and I think I was still racing age group, so I wanted to win the race, and I was first out of the water. So you don't want to look like a fool when you're first out of the water. So I hopped on, knew it immediately because your feet don't go in right, but decided I was going to try and just ride it as far as I could. That ended up being about 10 miles until I couldn't feel my feet. So I had to stop, but I tried not to stop. I tried to do it while rolling, So I unclipped, take the shoe off, pedaled a little bit, held it, switched hands, and long story short, I got both shoes off, couldn't pedal anymore because I had my shoes clipped in, and then almost fell off the bike, had to stop anyway, and went from first to fifth, and I don't know how that race ended, but I don't think it ended well.
Yeah,
So,
Meredith Kessler once rode without a saddle
Yeah.
for about 25 miles.
Yeah, she's crazy though.
She is crazy. Totally, the saddle was hanging off the side, and she's riding her bike and smiling. If you know Meredith, she was just smiling like, "This is cool. I got this." So we have about 3 minutes left, and then we're gonna have our first pro meeting. What one piece of advice would you get? 30 seconds that you've learned. Not even advice. That one thing that you've learned that you kind of, man, I wish I'd have learned that earlier.
Yeah, and I think I'm always learning still. But the number one thing is to roll with the punches on race day. Not every day is perfect. You always hope for that perfect race, but everything from your breakfast all the way up to the finish line, there's 1,000 different things that can go right or wrong. And if you just roll with the punches and persevere, it ends up being better more often than not.
All right, Rachel.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I would say, best advice is,
Okay, I'll ask why the purple tiger? I mean, I don't even, is that something that just somebody else gave you, or?
yeah, I'm gonna have to look at the archives and see where it came from, because I mean I love purple and I love tigers, and I think that was when I started with Wadi. That was like my first idea for a race kit. I'm like, oh, purple tiger, that would be so cool, because I love purple and I love tigers, and it just went from there. So I just started becoming.
So you didn't make it up?
Well, I think it was my idea to have it on as
So do you have a
design.
nickname? Forget this best advice. Do you have a nickname ever?
I'd say like purple tiger or some kind of tiger theme.
Okay.
Something was like I used to have a nickname of Tiga Tante, which is German for tiger lady.
Okay. See, that's awesome. Laura, do you ever have a nickname?
I have a nickname, but it's not an interesting story. So I'll go with the advice.
Okay. It's well, what is it? Now we're all
It's
curious.
a long story that,
Okay, but what is it? What is the name?
My nickname is Carl. It rhymes with Laurel.
Okay.
There's
Yeah,
a
it's
story
probably not
behind it.
interesting.
It's kind of funny, but it's
No,
not
I'm
like
kidding.
triathlon related at all.
So Carl.
So people call me Carl. It's spelled with a K. Like
Carl.
works at
So if I say